Perfect. Thank you for everybody who's here today to watch this presentation. Welcome. In case you're unaware, this is the webinar for the Moving Forward Together plan for Halifax Transit, the specific changes that are coming on November 22nd, 2021. So just before we begin, I'll go over a little bit about how to use MS Teams if this is your first time. So you'll see in the bottom right corner, if you are wanting to have the closed captions on, you have to turn those on for yourself. There should be a little small CC button. You press that at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. You'll be able to see them. There will be a slight delay before the captions begin. And next, as well, if anytime you want to leave the webinar, the top right-hand side of your corner, there's a little leave button. If you do decide that you leave or you have to go somewhere, that's okay. While this is live currently, it will be recorded and it will be available on the Your New Commute website on Halifax Transit. And as well, feel free, if you have any questions at all, there is a section you can see at the bottom right-hand side corner, live event Q&A. Feel free to ask questions in there whenever you want, and we will get to them at the end of the webinar. And you have some options for that. If you'd like to add your name to your question so we can address you specifically, you can see there's a little section where you would be able to put your name, then write your question under that. However, if you did want to post anonymously or provide a nickname, you also have that ability. There's a small little button you can click at the bottom that would make you anonymous. And then this slide essentially just explains the same thing. You would just type your question in that to the box, and then we'll answer it at the very end.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Lindsay Mullen, Outreach and Engagement Specialist with Halifax Transit, and I'm here today with my colleagues Chris, who you just met, and Anthony, who you'll be meeting later on in the presentation. Today, we will be presenting on the Halifax Transit service changes effective this November 22nd, 2021. So today we'll cover a high-level overview of the service changes coming this November, how to plan your trip, and what resources will be available for riders, and where to find more information. There's a lot of great information to cover today, so I will be speaking at a fairly quick pace, but Anthony and our team will be happy to take any questions at the end of the session. All right, overview of the service changes. So the upcoming November 2021 service changes are based on the 2016 Moving Forward Together plan, which is Halifax Transit's strategic route network redesign to better align the transit network with the needs of Halifax residents now and into the future. So this was approved by Regional Council in 2016 after extensive public consultation, and it's founded on 4 key principles. Number 1, increase the proportion of resources allocated towards high ridership services. Number 2, build a simplified transfer-based system. So for instance, transfers make transit routes shorter, which means they're less likely to get delayed by traffic and more efficient. This also reduces redundancy in the network, freeing up resources that can be used elsewhere and benefit more passengers. Number 3, invest in quality and reliability. And number 4, give transit increased priority in the transportation network. For example, transit priority signals or new bus lanes you may have seen around the city. So 38 MFTP Moving Forward Together plan related route changes have been implemented to date, and 26 MFTP related route changes will come into effect this November. You can see a little sneak peek of them there. Of the 26 related route changes that will come into effect this November, you'll see in Group A that 7 of those are carried over, which were originally planned to change in 2020, but were postponed till 2021 due to COVID. And these include restructuring service in Eastern Passage and Woodside, changes to 2 routes impacting Halifax, 2 routes in Dartmouth, Port Wallace, Waverley area, and changes to Spryfields and Cowie Hill Express routes. Group B is 16 routes that surround the Portland Hills Terminal, resulting in significant changes in Cole Harbour, Dartmouth, and surrounding communities. And Group C is modifications to 4 routes to align with the opening of a new park and ride located in West Bedford. So the Moving Forward Together plan includes a redesign of the Halifax Transit route network, which will consist of 8 service types. For example, there's corridor routes, 1 to 10, routes 1 to 19, local routes 20 to 99, express routes 100 to 199, and regional express routes 300 to 399, and rural routes 400 to 499. So corridor route changes coming in November 22nd. We'll start off with new Route 5 Portland. This provides frequent all-day service between Portland Hills Terminal in Dartmouth and Scotia Square downtown Halifax 7 days a week. Passengers who previously took routes 59, 61, and 68 can now take Route 5 Portland, as this route replaces portions of these former routes. There's a new branch route, 6A, B, and C, Eastern Passage. It will provide frequent all-day service. This new route has 3 branches, 6A, which will go from Bridge Terminal to Woodside Ferry Terminal, 6B, which is between Bridge Terminal to Woodside Ferry Terminal to Eastern Passage, and 6C, which will run from Bridge Terminal to Woodside Ferry Terminal to Heritage Hills. Routes 6B and 6C replace portions of the former routes 60 and 63, and just a little note that Route 6A does not run on weekends, and routes 6B and C will not service Woodside Ferry Terminal on weekends. New Route 7AB Peninsula will replace Route 7 Roby. Route 7 Peninsula will provide frequent all-day service 7 days a week between the north and south end of the Halifax Peninsula, and this route will start and end at Samuel Prince Manor. This provides similar routing and service as the previous Route 7, but instead the Route 7A Peninsula will operate as a two-way loop. So Route 7A will travel clockwise and Route 7B will travel counterclockwise, enabling frequent transfer connections with other routes. Local routes. New Route 24 Leibland Park provides service from Leibland Park to South Street and South End Halifax 7 days a week, replacing Route 14 Leibland Park. Route 24 will follow the same routing from Leibland Park to South Street, South End Halifax, as the former Route 14. The new Route 24 will end at English Street near St. Mary's University, and passengers wishing to continue to Scotia Square can now transfer at St. Mary's University to the Route 10 or 29. Route 26 Springvale is a new local route that will provide service between Springvale and Mumford Terminal during rush hour peak period weekday service only. Route 26 will follow similar routing from Springvale to Mumford Terminal as the former Route 5 Chiboucto, and to continue to other areas, including downtown, passengers can connect to frequent corridor routes at Mumford Terminal. Route 53 Highfield is a new local route replacing 53 Notting Park, and will provide service between Highfield Terminal, Bridge Terminal, and Alderney Ferry Terminal in Dartmouth 7 days a week. Route 53 will not continue to Halifax during peak hours, but will go to Alderney Gate for a new connection to Halifax. Passengers could also transfer at Bridge to routes 1, 3, 5, and 10 if they wish to proceed to Halifax. So this new route will provide two-way service along the entire route, but will not service Victoria Road. Passengers would have an option to instead transfer at Highfield to Route 87. Route 54, Montebello, will undergo some routing adjustments, will be made to provide service from Montebello to Alderney Gate and Bridge Terminal 7 days a week. Route 54 Montebello will follow similar routing from Montebello to Alderney Gate and Dartmouth as the former Route 54, but will continue to provide a connection to the Bridge Terminal. And to provide additional service to the Keystone Village Montebello area, the route will travel along some portions of Breeze Drive, Colombo Drive, and Appian Way. New Route 55 Port Wallace will provide service between Charles Keating Drive, Alderney Gate, Micmac Terminal, and Bridge Terminal 7 days a week. Route 55 Port Wallace will follow similar routing as former Route 55 Port Wallace between Craigburn Drive and Ochterlony Street in Dartmouth, but will be adjusted to service both Alderney Gate and Bridge Terminal. Due to low ridership, Route 55 will no longer provide service along Waverley Road between Monaga Road and the Portobello Turning Loop near Highway 118, and will now travel instead to Waverley Road, to Charles Keating Drive, and along a portion of Craigburn Drive. Route 57 Portland Estates replaces Route 57 Russell Lake. Route 57 Portland Estates will follow similar routing as former 57 Russell Lake from Portland Hills Terminal to Penhorn Terminal in Dartmouth, but will not service the portion between Woodside Ferry Terminal and Penhorn Terminal. Riders could instead transfer at Penhorn to Route 67 Baker. And just a little note that Route 57 Portland Estates will only provide service during weekdays at rush hour and peak periods. Route 62 Grahams Grove provides service from Bridge Terminal, Alderney Gate to Penhorn Terminal and Gaston Road 7 days a week. It will follow similar routing as former 62 Wildwood between Bridge Terminal and Penhorn Terminal in Dartmouth, but will not go past Highway 111 to Woodlawn or Cole Harbour. Route 62 will also replace part of Route 66 Penhorn between Penhorn Terminal and the Gaston Road turning loop. Route 63 Mount Edward provides service from Penhorn Terminal to Portland Hills Terminal via Mount Edward Road 7 days a week, and will follow similar routing as former 62 Wildwood between Penhorn Terminal and Forest Hills Parkway, but will not service the southern part of Flying Cloud Drive. Instead, the Route 63 will travel the southern part of Forest Hills Parkway and Cole Harbour Road and provide two-way service along the entire route with a connection to Portland Hills Terminal. Route 67 Baker provides service from Woodside Ferry Terminal to Micmac Terminal via Baker Drive and Tacoma Center 7 days a week. This will replace former Route 66 Penhorn and the portion of Route 57 Russell Lake between Penhorn Terminal and Woodside Ferry Terminal. The route will also provide a connection between Micmac Terminal and Penhorn Terminal. Local and express routes. On to my colleague, Chris.
Thank you, Lindsay. So for the local and express routes, start with the next. So starting with the local route 58 Woodlawn and the new express route 158 Woodlawn, the new local route provides local service 7 days a week between Portland Hills Terminal and Penhorn Terminal via Woodlawn. Local Route 58 will be replaced by the new express route 158 Woodlawn Express in peak times to provide express service between Penhorn Terminal and downtown. Next we have the local route 59 Colby as well as the new express route 159 Colby. Very similar, it will provide local service 7 days a week, but between Colby Village and Portland Hills Terminal, and the local Route 59 will be replaced by the Route 159 Express in peak times to provide express service between Portland Hills Terminal to downtown Halifax. The local Route 61 North Preston and the new express route 161 North Preston will provide local service 7 days a week between North Preston and Portland Hills Terminal. Local Route 61 will be replaced by the 161 North Preston Express in peak times to provide express service between Portland Hills Terminal and downtown Halifax. The new local route 65 Caldwell, as well as the new express route 165 Caldwell. Again, new local route will provide local service 7 days a week between Caldwell Road area and Portland Hills Terminal. The local route 65 will be replaced by the express route in peak times to provide express service between Portland Hills Terminal and downtown Halifax. The new local route 68 Cherrybrook, as well as the new express route 168A Auburn and new express route 168B Cherrybrook. The Route 68 Cherrybrook will provide local service 7 days a week between Cherrybrook and Portland Hills Terminal, whereas the Route 168A Auburn Express will service in peak times between Auburn Road area and downtown Halifax, and the Route 168B Cherrybrook Express will service in peak times between Cherrybrook and downtown Halifax. Now the new express routes. The new express route 127 Cowie Hill Express. This new express route replaces the former Route 32 Cowie Hill, but will instead travel on Chebucto Road. Express service during rush hour in the peak direction from Cowie Hill to downtown Halifax on weekdays only. It will provide service to Long Lake Village, removing service from Old Samborough Road east of Dunbrack Street, and passengers who are wishing to travel to Quinpool Road between Connaught and Roby can still use routes 9A and 9B. New Route 178 Mount Edward Express. This will replace the former Route 78 Mount Edward, follow similar routing as the former Route 78 Mount Edward Express, but due to low ridership, some trips have been removed from the schedule. Express service from Mount Edward to Woodside Ferry Terminal at rush hour/peak has been removed from, oh, sorry, I'm past that. Will be a peak period only on the weekdays, and passengers who currently take Route 78 Mount Edward Express can take Route 178 Mount Edward Express. Next is the new express route 179 Cole Harbour Express. Again, very similar. New Express replaces the former 79 Cole Harbour. The express service from Cole Harbour to Portland Hills Terminal to Woodside Ferry at rush hour and peak periods only on weekdays. It will follow the same route as the 79, but again, due to low ridership, some trips have been removed from the schedule. Passengers who currently take the Route 79 can take the Route 179. And then next onto the rural route. So the new rural route, 401 Porters Lake. This new rural route replaces the 401 Porters Lake. It will provide service from Porters Lake Park and Ride to Portland Hills Terminal. It will follow the same routing as the former 401 as far as Lakeview Shopping Center, but due to low ridership, service to West Sheshcook, Grand Desert, and Seaforth has been eliminated. Service has been reallocated to also provide 3 trips per day on Saturdays and Sundays. So next, there are a few minor adjustments, providing service to the West Bedford Park and Ride. So minor adjustments to Route 90 and 91. Routes will be adjusted to service the new West Bedford Park and Ride located on Innovation Drive. And again, the Route 194 will be adjusted to serve the West Bedford Park and Ride on Innovation Drive, as you can see in the circle, as well as the Route 433 will also be adjusted for the new West Bedford Park and Ride. And moving on to planning your trip. So trip planning apps will have updated route information as of November 22nd. Residents will be able to input future dates into their preferred digital trip planning app to plan a trip in the new network. While Halifax Transit does provide transit data for public use, we do not actually have a trip planning app ourselves. So these are all owned and operated by third parties and just allow residents to input their future travel dates, the new network. There will be staff available at terminals and major transfer points on November 22nd if you have any questions. And again, all the information will also be available at halifax.ca/transit. In terms of route maps and schedules, I believe that these are what the new route maps will look like on the right here. These will be updated version of the rider's guide and the network route map. They'll be available at Halifax Transit retail partners, customer service centers, public libraries, or virtually at halifax.ca/routes-schedules. In the meantime, you can visit halifax.ca/service changes to see individual route maps, turn-by-turn route descriptions, and FAQs. And as well, don't forget, when in doubt, you can always call 311 for any transit information or city-related information. If you need to get from A to B, you can give them that information. They can help you plan that trip. It's also available in over 150 languages. Next, so there's some more information to watch out for. There'll be information at bus stop service notice signs, service change booklets, street teams that will be out talking to people, answering questions, advertisements on the radio, shelter ads, bus signs, newsletters from your counselors, as well as information again at halifax.ca/service changes, as well as on the route matrix. And speaking of the route matrix, that is this. So the way this works, on the left-hand side, any of the routes that you would have taken before will be replaced with the routes that are in the colored numbers in the middle. So for example, if you had taken the 5 before, you'll be able to take the 26, either of the 9s or the 2 come November 22nd. And then this is just a larger version. And yeah, thank you very much. And we will now be taking any questions that you have. Let's see, what do we got here? Feel free to ask any questions. And again, if you don't know what to ask, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. It's good to say anything. We can also talk about the route matrix a little more specifically if you have any questions about that. Yes. Yeah, we'll go back. Just show you one more time how to ask a question in case you've forgotten. Yeah, so feel free on the right-hand side. And I could, I guess, pass it over to one of my colleagues who know more about this if they just want to give any useful information. I guess if you're interested in knowing any more about the street teams, so we will have people out on the street that'll be riding buses, stationed at terminals, they'll be at bus stops in the coming weeks to answer any questions, provide information about all the changes that are going to be taking place. There will be pop-up ads all around the city, essentially encouraging people to go to halifax.ca/service changes. That would be the best place to go to find all the information on the service changes. It is a good idea to follow Halifax Transit on Twitter. That's where a lot of information, you know, any changes that are happening very quickly will go there, all the updates, and it is HFX Transit. So at HFXTRANSIT, you know, give us a follow there, and feel free to ask any questions you have. And then I guess, again, if social media isn't really your preferred method of finding information, do always feel free to call 311. That is probably one of the best places to get any information very quickly. Lindsay, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, route schedules will be also coming in on our website.
Oh, okay.
So stay tuned for that.
Okay, so also route schedules will be coming to our website in the coming weeks. So that's something to look forward to. Those will be the new route schedules. Oh, we got two questions. Okay, can you explain the relationship with the express buses and the regular routes? I personally cannot, but perhaps I can hand it over to my colleague, Anthony.
Thanks, Chris. The express routes were designed so that in Dartmouth that these are traveling the same path that the regular routes do, and during the peak hours, the main rush hour times, you'd be able to take the express bus at the same local stops as you would the local routes, such as the 58, the 59, the 61, and the 68, and then just stay on board that bus rather than a transfer, and that will take you all the way downtown Halifax and beyond. So really, it's a more direct route, saving you the transfer. And another bonus on these express routes is that they will skip some stops. Basically, after the Penhorn Mall terminal for the 59, 61, and 68. 159, 161, and 168, getting you downtown faster, as it won't stop at every single stop from that point on.
So there's another question. Says, can you explain the decision-making process behind modifying the routes? I believe that would just fall under the Moving Forward Together plan principles, the 4 principles that Lindsay had mentioned before. So I can run through this again. The first one is, again, to increase the proportion of resources allocated towards high ridership services. So I assume from my understanding that in a lot of these cases, they used data that showed which areas had higher ridership, which areas had lower ridership, and took that into consideration. The next one is to build a simplified transfer-based system. Again, as Lindsay explained earlier, when you have less transfers on a route, it's essentially just faster, more efficient. Third, to invest in service quality and reliability, and to give transit increased priority in the transportation network. And if there's anything, I guess, either my colleagues would like to add on top of that.
Sure, Chris, thanks. Overall, yeah, so we're talking about the principle 1, where allocation of resources may have been changed. If there's been any issues where there's been overloads or demand for more service, more frequent service, due to people being left behind, those are instances where those are extremely high ridership services. And any spots where there was significantly low ridership, extremely low ridership, there may have been points where we would take some of those resources and apply it to the higher ridership area. And that way, more passengers are able to benefit from those service adjustments. Overall, building a simplified transfer-based system where you have a shorter route, you're more capable of keeping shorter routes on time. In many cases, routes were cut in spots that would avoid an additional congestion point, allowing a more reliable route as well. So the longer a route is, the more opportunities there are for delays, and strategically timing transfers can significantly improve passengers' experience in order to get to their destination faster. Investing in service quality really does mean looking at the data and using that data to inform our decisions. And number 4, giving transit increased priority. You may see some changes where we may put a route down a different street to take an opportunity to use a bus lane or use a bus signal to speed up its trip. Overall, you'll see lots of new bus lanes and bus signals and special signage for buses that allow some additional priority or advanced service through the queue at a traffic light, for example. So taking advantage of those opportunities has really allowed some great steps in improving the on-time performance, reliability, and overall speed of various trips.
So the next question, anonymous, it says, will 7A or B turn right down Gabe Street, then to Kencrest? I believe that may be indicated here, but it could be something that Anthony could probably better address.
So the Route 7B and 7A will be traveling in a loop.
You're currently muted.
Route 7A and B are going to be traveling in loops in both directions. So if you're able to look at the Route 7B and A in the area of Kencrest and Glebe, you'll have a route traveling both from Kencrest onto Glebe and in the other direction from Glebe onto Kencrest.
Perfect. And again, if you do have any more questions, feel free to ask. Those ones are really good ones. I guess the question that I have, because I'm still learning all this stuff as well. What went into deciding these specific routes? you know, what made Halifax Transit decide these were the routes to change specifically? It was.
I believe that was.
Okay.
Yeah, so the moving forward together plan was developed as initially as a 5-year plan, and it turned into a full system review and transit redesign. And through those 4 moving forward principles, that's what really guided the steps to changing various routes, along with extensive public consultation. So there was a few rounds where we would make proposals on some changes, and then when we presented to passengers and residents in various communities, we took feedback and try to utilize that feedback in order to improve the route, and as much to use that feedback as possible. Transfers, I see another question there. Transfers are valid for 90 minutes from the end of the trip that you boarded with that, or sorry, from the 90 minutes from the end of the trip that you took that transfer from. So they can also be used for return trips, depending on how long it is before you take your return trip back. Frequency of the express routes. There will be schedules posted as they become available fairly soon. However, each one has been modeled after existing express trips in the area. So without looking at each specific one, I can say they may not necessarily be every 10 minutes, but they're designed to tailor to the existing time periods and frequencies that areas are accustomed to seeing. And an additional question: the express routes will be costing the same as the regular routes, so there's no additional fares required. Are there any other questions? Yes, and to clarify on the Route 7, it is taking, it would be traveling from, in one direction would come from Northridge, turn on to Nova Lee for a brief moment, then on to Kencrest, and then on to Glebe. So that would be the Route 7A. The 7B would come from Glebe instead, goes to Kencrest, and then to Northridge briefly, and then back to Nova Lee in the opposite direction. Hope that clarifies it for you. There will be turn-by-turn descriptions of the routes as well as the maps posted on the website. And they are live now on the halifax.ca/service changes website.
you see what the lines is.
So if you do also want more information, where this specific webinar will be posted will be on the Your New Commute webpage on Halifax Transit. The easiest way to find that, there is a link that I can post right now. I'll put it into the Q&A section, but it's just halifax.ca/transportation/how-get-around/your-new-commute. But I will post it right now with the questions, just so everybody has it. Give me one moment. And that has a lot more useful information associated with different changes that are happening, even active transportation, how to ride transit in Halifax, and as well, I guess, on that line of how to ride transit in Halifax, if you're interested in taking transit as part of your commute in Halifax or, Dartmouth, HRM, the surrounding area, we did do a how to ride transit webinar last week, which is now live, which is now published on halifax.ca/your-new-commute. That's all as one word. So feel free to go there and find that information. As well, the week before, there was a webinar that was done on active transportation. I was not specifically part of that one, but I know that it did give some information regarding active transportation in Halifax, as well as using a bike as part of your commute, along with transit as a bus. Talking about how to, and talked about the tools to plan your bike trip, plan a bike trip around HRM, as well as different projects that they have coming up. I'm not sure whether or not this was mentioned, but I'll mention it now. All Halifax Transit buses are equipped with bike racks on the front that can hold up to 2 bicycles. And there are videos on halifax.ca/how-to-ride-transit that actually show you specifically how to go about attaching your bike to the front of a bus, as well as taking it off once you're done. Super informational, super good to know if you do decide to add, cycling as part of your active transportation trips. And again, if you aren't aware, if you didn't see it last week, if you aren't aware of where to buy tickets or passes for Halifax Transit, they're available at different grocery stores and pharmacies around Halifax, including Sobeys, Superstore, Lawton's Drug Mart, Shoppers Drug Mart, Lawton's Drugs, Shoppers Drug Mart, individual tickets, as well as packs of 10. The prices do range based on age groups. So ages 0 to 12 ride free, then 13 to 17, it's $2 per ticket, which is also the same as seniors, which is 65 and up. And then 18 to 64, the price of a ticket is $2.75, which is also the same price as cash fare. Yeah, so is there any more questions? There is a question about how do ferries integrate into the system? That is a very good question in which I'm not completely aware. However, I feel like my colleague Anthony may be more aware.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. There's been the ferry has long been a very popular mode of transportation, especially in the downtown core, as it tends not to ever get congested by traffic as the bridges do. So we wanted to prioritize that and make that available. So some of the new trips that the new routings that we have incorporate the ferry into their routes, such as the Route 53, for example. So it now extends to the ferry and allows you to get across to the Halifax side, where especially during the peak hours, the ferry would be going every 15 minutes, so that will minimize any transfer wait time. Yeah, overall, that's one of the key components is the ferries, because they don't get stuck in traffic, so they can often be an integral part of an express service or a morning commute or afternoon commute. They do operate off peak as well, but they won't be as frequent. And yes, the transfers do work between the bus system, so keep your transfer and you're able to use that to and from the ferries. And would there be any other questions?
So if there are no further questions from anybody currently watching, then we just like to say thank you very much for attending. We hope that a lot of this information, or we hope that all of this information is super useful to you, and that you're able to use it now and after November 22nd in planning your trips around HRM using Halifax Transit. And again, if there's anything here that we maybe have said too quickly or you missed, this will be published after the fact on halifax.ca/yournewcommute. So you can watch it again and again and again and again. And then, as always, as I've said before, 311 is one of the best resources for information in terms of transit, as well as just, you know, general Halifax, like HRM information. So when in doubt, do always call there or visit halifax.ca/transit. And again, if you are maybe new to transit, halifax.ca/how-to-ride-transit has videos and virtual pamphlets with a lot of information. Just very general stuff about how to start to go about understanding and navigating the system. So again, thank you so much from all three of us for attending this webinar, and we really hope that you had a great time. Bye.